All right, real estate market update time. So let's dive right into it. So Massachusetts for the last 30 days, average sales price, $839,000. Average list price, $817,000. So homes are still going above asking on average in Massachusetts for the last 30 days. On average in Massachusetts, 4% above asking. And average days on market, 30 days. And that was based on 3,418 properties that were single family that sold in Massachusetts in the last 30 days. So just a few categories that jumped out. Obviously, across the board, you saw a lot of over asking. But one category was the $1 million to $1.499 million range. There was 436 properties in that range, and they went on average 6% above asking. So that was the high range right there as far as above asking. But from 250,000 all the way to 999,000, all those categories were 2, 3, 4%, all above asking. So, you're kind of starting to see also the trends that we saw before. Once you get to the higher end properties, so 2.5 million to 3 million, those went 1% below asking. 3 million to 4 million, 2% below asking. But then 4 million to 5 million, for whatever reason, that jumps back up to the norm, 4% above in that one category. And then if you go to the 5 million to $10 million range, 6% below asking in that range. So that's what we're seeing in Massachusetts in the last 30 days. All right, let's look at Bristol County. So Bristol County for the last 30 days, average sales price, $591,000. Average list price, $580,000. So they went for 2% above asking. So Bristol County, similar to Massachusetts as far as above asking. That was based on 266 properties, and average days on market in Bristol County were higher than overall Massachusetts, 37 days on average in Bristol County. So a couple categories that jumped out, if I'm going to look at categories, from 450,000 to 599,000. Those homes went for 4% above asking. A lot of the categories, 300,000 on all the way to 1 million, were all on average above asking. But again, 1 million to 1.5 million, 2% below asking. 1.5 to 2 million, 5% below asking. And that was based on 4 homes, so not just one outlier. 4 homes, and the average was 5% below asking. All right, what about investments? What have the multifamily properties been doing? So in Massachusetts, multifamily properties, last 30 days, average sales price, $802,000. Average list price, $796,000. So multi-properties also 2% above asking. And the average days on market for multifamilies, 29 days on average on market. So just a few categories that jumped out. When you look through the numbers, from 450,000 to 500,000, 8% above asking. And that was based on 25 properties. So pretty good sample size, and still 8% above asking. So that is a sweet spot if you're looking to sell. Those are going all above asking. If you're looking for a deal, if you're on the buyer end, some of the categories you might be able to get a deal in, from 150,000 to 199,000, 8% below asking. And then from 250,000 to 299,000, 4% below asking. And both of those categories, one was 5 listings, one was 7 listings. But those are the categories. And the same thing, when you start to get to the higher end, from 1.5 million to 1.99 million, you're talking 3% below. I'm not going to go through every one, but so from 1 million to 10 million, all of those categories, and there's a lot of different breakdowns in there, they all went below asking. 3%, 1%, 1%, 3%, and 1%. So the same trend we're seeing, with the multifamilies that we're seeing with the single family properties. All right, what about Bristol County? So Bristol County, average sales price from multifamily properties, $671,000. Average list price, $657,000. So in Bristol County, 3% above asking. Average days on market, 27. So opposite trend with the multifamilies. We're seeing it go a little quicker on the market as far as, you know, in comparison to Massachusetts, whereas with the single family homes, Bristol County was going longer days on market. So a couple categories jumped out to me here, 1 million to 1.5 million. It was only one property, but it went for 19% above asking. So they listed it at 950,000. It sold for 1,128,000. And then a couple other categories that jumped out, from 450,000 to 499,000. There was 8 properties in that range, and they went on average 5% above asking. And then if you look at the 600,000 to $699,000 range, 17 properties went on average 4% above asking, and also only 23 days on market. So those properties were moving faster, and they were going for above asking. All right, now let's talk about my hometown. So one thing I just wanted to mention, in case you didn't notice it, you know, on my channel with my information and different things, is I recently transferred from eXp Realty to Redfin. So now, you know, I'm an agent with Redfin, and, you know, unfortunately, you know, I was assessing some of the fees and costs and different things. So I still have my 3 licenses, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Florida. But unfortunately, temporarily, Rhode Island, Florida, I put on the inactive status, which that alone saves me a couple grand, easy, a little more than that, for my fees and different things for being licensed in those states. You know, I hate for it to come down to money and different things, but sometimes that's life. Sometimes you got to make some adjustments. I fully intend to activate those licenses. I could at any time. It's not a big process to activate them. So anytime I could go back to being fully active, but I still am licensed in those states. It's just inactive. So it's just behind the scenes stuff that happens. I don't have to subscribe to the MLSs and different things like that. So I'm just fully just Massachusetts right now as far as MLS access. So if you're noticing, all the information I'm giving you is all Massachusetts information. Unfortunately, I'm not able to go and pull out the Rhode Island and Florida information from the MLS like I used to, which I do miss. So I probably won't be inactive too long, because I love checking out and comparing the different states and seeing what's going on. You know, I love all 3 of those states. And, you know, especially I love to just see what's going on down in Florida, because, you know, that's the end game at some point, hopefully, is to get something down there for me personally. But, you know, so I love, and, you know, people call me all the time looking to go to Florida and different things. So unfortunately, you know, I got to, you know, use a team effort to try to help those people out. But anyway, enough rambling about that. I just wanted to address that, because when you see the hometown, you're not going to see the Rhode Island towns. And also, I figure I would address it now. Another thing is that in the past, you probably noticed that the information is not as detailed when I'm going through Rhode Island and Florida. And a big reason for that is just the MLS information that's at my fingertips. So those 2 systems use a very similar, you know, system as far as, you know, how the data is collected, in the matrix and different things like that. The MLS in Massachusetts is a totally different, you know, software program. It's totally different behind the scenes. But I get a lot more information at my fingertips with Massachusetts. So you'll notice a lot of times when I'm diving in, I can really go into the categories and different things like that. It's not that I didn't care about that stuff for Rhode Island or Florida. It's just, it's not readily accessible at my fingertips like Massachusetts is. So Massachusetts, I get a lot more information. You know, I can run all kinds of different reports, and it gets me all the information I'm looking for. So, but anyway, enough of that. But that's why you're not going to see Rhode Island, Florida, at least temporarily. Like I said, I still, you know, I keep an eye on all the properties over there. I just don't have the in-depth MLS access like I did. So anyway, enough about that. Hometown, let's start off Swansea, my hometown, right? Average sales price, $689,000. Average list price, $726,000. So things are dipping a little in Swansea. You know, if you're a seller, you know, it's going 3% below asking, and that's based on 7 properties. But obviously, if you're on the buying end, now might be your opportunity to take a look at Swansea and see what's going on here. So I'm not going to dive too much into the categories, because with the 7 properties, they were spread out among all different categories. So it's tough to really get a gauge on anything as far as which ones are hot, which ones are not. You know, one category that did bring the numbers down a little bit was 1 million to 1.5 million. The one home in that category, it was listed at 1,275,000. and it sold for $1,050,000. So it went for 18% below asking. Average days on market in Swansea, 67 days on average. And you know, there was a couple of homes. One was on the market for 111 days before it sold, another one for 100 days. The quickest home to sell, you know, was 17 days on market, and it sold for asking. It was on the market for $975,000. They got $975,000 6 days before the offer was put in, 17 days on market. But that was the outlier. All of the rest of the properties, you know, stood on the market a little bit longer, obviously with the average being 67. All right, let's talk about Seekonk. So Seekonk, average sales price, $528,000. Average list price, $509,000. Average days on market, 38 days. And on these homes went for 4% on average above asking. So a big difference between Swansea and Seekonk right now. One of the categories that really jumped out, and this was based on 7 homes in this one category, so 15 overall for Seekonk, but 7 homes sold from $500,000 to $599,000 range, and they went on average 5% above asking. So pretty good jump right there as far as, you know, above asking in Seekonk. Let's talk about Somerset. So Somerset, average sales price, $497,000. Average list price, $500,000. So in Somerset, on average, 1% above asking, based on 12 homes that sold. Average days on market, 40. So just a quick couple categories that jumped out, from $400,000 to $449,000. 3 homes in that category, they went for 4% above asking. The category rate above that, $450,000 to $499,000. 2 homes, and they went on average for 7% above asking. And then, you know, just a little bit of a mix as far as the other categories go. So, and it's like one home here, one home there. Not really a trend, so I won't even mention it. All right, what about Dighton? So Dighton, average sales price, $429,000. Average list price, $437,000. Average days on market, 41. And they went on average for 2% below asking. And there was only 4 homes that sold, not a huge sample size, but the numbers are the numbers. So I'm not even going to dive into too many things here. One thing I did want to notate with days on market, it was 41, but the one home that was listed at 259 ended up selling for 244. It was on the market for 120 days. So the other homes were on average 5 days on market and 20 days on market. So things are actually selling pretty quick in Dighton, except for that one outlier, you know, and that could have been a flip home. I'm not too sure. I'd have to look at it. 120 days on market. All right, let's take a look at Rehoboth. So Rehoboth, average sales price, $689,000. Average list price, $680,000. So they went on average 2% above asking in Rehoboth. That's based on 12 homes, pretty good sample size. Average days on market, 42 days. So some of the categories that jumped out affected some of the numbers. So there was one home, was listed at $349,000 and went for $300,000. So it went for 14% below asking. But there were some categories that went higher. Again, some of these are outliers, so can't read too much into this. But one home was on the market for $599 and it sold for $755. So it went for 26% above asking. And that home was on the market for 5 days. So that one sold pretty quick. You know, and then the other one that had a decent amount of homes was the $500,000 to $599,000 range. It was 4 homes, and those 4 homes went on average 4% above asking. All right, so that's a wrap for this month's real estate market update. As far as Redfin goes, you know, I'm really excited to be, you know, part of that team. And there's just so much technology at our fingertips. You know, it's pretty incredible, you know, with the app and all the things that go on behind the scenes and just kind of how they're structured and how they work. You know, I get into this on my Instagram video when I spoke about transferring brokerages. EXP, I love EXP. I may return to EXP one day. You never know. I did love it there. There are some certain things behind the scenes is why I went to Redfin, and it's not negative stuff really about EXP. It's just, it was just the right fit for me at this time. So anyway, I dive into that a little bit in my Instagram video. I'll get into that in the future. But anyway, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, reach out to me. I'm also going to be doing the hot towns. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to record that video immediately after this, but I'm going to post it in a separate video. I'm just going to cover the hottest towns like I did last summer. in Massachusetts. And that's a wrap, folks. So, great to be back out there, talk to you guys again. Enjoy your summer, be safe. Warm weather's here. So excited. You probably heard the frogs, different things behind me. Something's always interrupting my videos, whether it's wind, frogs, whatever it is. But anyway, glad I get to do this. I appreciate, the opportunity, that you guys give me by, watching my videos. Reach out if you got any questions. Throw my number on the screen like always. Until next month. Actually, I'm gonna do hot tops now as far as this video goes.